Hi, friends. Welcome to Your Age is Not Your Cage with Carla Allen. Today's episode, I have Stephanie Rofkahr with me. Stephanie has a business called Fit.Four.Five, which she will explain to you what that means. But let me tell you a little bit about Stephanie. Stephanie, well, for one thing, let me start with she has a bubbly, infectious personality, which you are going to hear. And if you're watching on YouTube, you will see she is just such a delight. Stephanie is a certified personal trainer, a nutrition coach, and an MPC bikini body competitor, along with so many other impressive credentials. Stephanie has, though, a personal story that was a near tragedy, but it changed her life. It transformed her life, and it caused her to make some changes in her life. And she's got quite a story to tell, and I know you're going to want to hear this. She also shares about her health and nutrition business, which is Fit.Four.Five, and the meaning behind that, how she got involved in bikini competitions. She created her own fitness app. She has a passion, just like me, for helping change women's mindsets around fitness, nutrition, aging, and that you can do anything at any age. I think you're probably starting to see a recurring theme on my podcast because it is called Your Age is Not Your Cage. Stephanie has many, many other credentials. It will be in the show notes. I'd love for you to learn more about her, but she's featured in many magazines. She has ebooks, she has a fitness app, so many things. So without going on more and more, I rather introduce you to Stephanie because I know that you are going to absolutely adore her as much as I do. And so just sit down, grab that coffee or your earbuds, go for a walk, and let's listen and meet the amazing, sweet Stephanie Rofkahr. Hi, welcome, friends. This is Your Age is Not Your Cage with Carla Allen. And today I have a special guest with me, and I want you to welcome her. Her name is Stephanie Rofkahr, right?
Very good.
Yes.
Very good. Great.
With Fit.Four.Five. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I
Um,
almost kind of got teary-eyed, especially as praying before and then kind of, talking about what we were going to talk about. And so, we're going to start off with my son's drowning accident. And some days it hits me, some days it doesn't.
Yeah.
And today it just kind of has hit me.
Yeah, well, and that's okay. It was probably our technology snafus that already got you flustered. So,
Oh, no, that's fine.
but yeah, Stephanie's talking about before we record, I always pray with my guests, and I just love to do that. And I feel like it leads the way with the conversation. So, let's start with just telling our listeners a little bit about you, your family, and we'll start there.
Okay, well, my name is Stephanie Rofkahr, and I am the owner and founder of Fit.Four.Five, and we'll get more on that subject, but it literally just started kind of as something just to keep me busy after my son's accident. My children are 25, almost 23, and 13, and the 13-year-old boy was planned. My husband had a vasectomy reversal to have him. That is the big topic everyone asks, because we had a late in life baby. And I've been married to my high school sweetheart for 30 years, and we'll celebrate 31 in March. And we have two daughters. The two oldest are girls, which I'm so I wanted a whole slew of girls, but I'm so thankful my first two were girls because they helped me so much raise my son, because I really didn't realize how I was starting over when I had him until after he was born. And we were like, whoa, at 38 and 40 was how we were when we had him. And so it really was starting over. But my girls were 9 and 11 when he was born. And I caught them at a great age where they had a real life baby doll. So
Yeah, I think my daughter would have loved that, but and she'll probably kill me for sharing this story, but she always wanted a baby sister. And, you know, you and I have talked about it, that I did not have my kids until I was 36 and 38. But she used to always, anytime we'd say, hey, guess what? She'd go, we're having a baby sister. And we'd be like, no. And then it got to the point as she started getting bigger and she had to go hang out with her friends that all had baby sisters. And then the baby sister had to hang out with them. She's like, I don't think I want a baby sister anymore.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of there's a lot to it and stuff. The big joke is the reason why we had him, my second born, she begged and begged and begged for a sister, but she got a brother. Well, then my son started that about the same age she did, around 6, and we're like, no, we already fell for that one. We are not doing that
yet. Yeah, anyway. It's so true. I think she would love a sister now, of course, because you know, as you get older, you appreciate your siblings so much more. But okay, so tell us your son's name again.
His name is Ram, R-A-M.
Okay.
It gets called Graham all the time. And his name means godlike. So it's even, gosh, I'm going to get all teary-eyed. But, and it's the son of David in the Bible. My husband's name is David. So it's Ram David. A lot of people think it's Ramesses in the Bible, but it's not. It's Ram. And his name means godlike.
I love that. That's beautiful. I want to go read about it now.
Yes. So, and my girls are Zoe and Sophie, and then we have Ram. So.
Okay. All right. So tell me, because the podcast is your age, it's not your cage. What is your age? So our listeners know.
I am 50. I'll be 51 in January. I'm not for sure when this will be released. So, but I am 50 as of October 2023. I was a stay-at-home mom for 15 years. I did not even start my business until 45. And when I say start my business, I mean, a stay-at-home mom is a job, but I literally, fed the kids, clothed the kids, cleaned the house, paid the bills. And when I started this business, like I said, was a joke, kind of, and just kind of really a hobby. I had no idea what it was going to turn into. I did not know how to do anything. I literally posted on Instagram only pictures of my kids. I did not know how to run a business. When I did decide, we were all sitting on the sofa, and my oldest, it was after my son's near drowning accident, and I knew I needed to stay busy, and we can go more depth on that. But we were all sitting on the sofa, and my daughter was fixing to go to college, and she always says she wishes she could come back as a 4th child, because, that first child, you don't get a handbook with them. Like, she's like, Mom, you'd have moved off to college with me. I'm like, I so would have, and stuff. And I still had 2 other kids to take care of. Can you imagine? She was the only one. And so I said, well, you know what? I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start a business on my Instagram account. And my kids are like, oh, please do not use your name. Please go by, a different name or something. I'm like, well, what do I do? So that's how Fit.Four.Five came about, because when my girls were little, back when you would go to Walmart and buy the DVD player and you pop it in, I used to always tell them, give me 45 minutes of my time to exercise and I will be the best mom ever. So they remembered that. So remember, if you're listening and you have young ones, they listen more than what you realize. So you need to lead by example. And then when I met with a guy to help me build a website or kind of help me get started, and he said, well, what's your brand? And I said, I don't know what a brand is. And he said, your brand's like, what is your logo going to be? And what is your motto and what color scheme? And I was like, I just wanted you to just kind of help me. And he said, well, we need a brand. You need a color. So I came back home and we decided on purple because it was my oldest daughter's favorite color growing up. And then so I reached back out to the guy and he said, well, how can we communicate together? And he said, what's your email address? And I said, it's butterflylane@aol.com. And he said, what are you, a freaking dinosaur? And I said, well, I am 45. And he said, you'll be the laughing stock of the fitness industry with an AOL account, Butterfly Lane. He said, you need to come up with something better than that. So he gave me Stephanie Fit.Four.Five @gmail.com.
Yeah, I love that. I love that whole story. And I know there's so much to that. So before you dig into that, because I know what happened with your son, Ram, was where it really caused you to dig deep and to make the transformations that you did. And so, just share what you can about it, because I know it's not always an easy story, I'm sure. So,
well, some days, like I said, some
yeah.
days kind of. So I have always been into, as obviously I've always been, I was an athlete growing up, more of a tomboy. Then I turned into pageants, and I've always been fit. And in my early 20s, I would train friends for free, or I'd say, hey, come work out with me. Well, then in my 30s, I ran marathons, trail dashes, warrior dashes. I used to do the all night trail runs. So I used to do all types of running. And then at 40, I had to quit because of my dad had double knee replacement, and my knee was starting to act up. And my doctor said, you really need to quit the running over 3 miles. And so after my son's accident, obviously, which was under my watch in our backyard pool, I had went in. He was 5 at the time, and he was actually at the age. I always said I would have thought it would happen when he was 3 because he never listened to me. But at 5, he listened to me. And our backyard is 1 level from the back, 2 levels from the front, so it's kind of odd laid out. And we were practicing diving, and he was actually just started on the swim team 4 weeks before his accident. And I ran in to grab his goggles. I said, Ram, stay outside pool. I'm going to run in real fast, which seemed like a split second. And when I went back out, I couldn't find him by the pool. And so, like I said, our house was laid out weird. So I went down the right side of the hill, went down on the left side of the hill, couldn't find him, yelling his name. And then when I looked in the pool, I saw orange swim trunks at the bottom of the pool. Mm. And to this day, he's never worn orange swim trunks. Mm. And so I pulled him out of the pool. And if anyone's ever witnessed a drowning accident, he was double his size. And it was kind of a big thing. Everybody said, the doctors and stuff, how did you pull him out of the water? Well, it's just that mom instinct, because he literally, was double the weight, filled up. When I pulled him out, he was so unrecognizable. And my 14-year-old daughter at the time, my middle daughter, was home. And I ran and grabbed her and told her to call 911. And then I passed out, and she did the mouth to mouth and everything with the emergency tech on the phone, the operator, whatever. And then by the time the firefighters had came, and then they took over, and then I had came to at that time. And anyways, he was rushed to our local hospital. They said if he did live, he would not live a normal life. And none of that. My faith has never been as strong as it was during that time. And I remember thinking, with the doctor saying that, I remember thinking, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. And then they airlifted him to 3 hours away to a children's hospital, where he was in a coma for a week. And anyway, he made a full recovery. And so obviously, after his accident, I beat myself up for a long time. I stopped taking care of myself. My 14-year-old daughter at the time had a lot of trauma with his accident, obviously giving him mouth to mouth and witnessing it. And we went to therapy for a year for that, which was the best thing that we ever did for myself and for my daughter. And then I quit taking care of myself, and I gained 30 pounds in 5 months. And I was always the one, I didn't even gain that when I was pregnant with all 3 of my kids. I was always, always took good care of myself. And so then I did like everyone else did. I was miserable. I went into a major depression because I kept beating myself up over my son's accident. And finally, I didn't even tell my husband. And I've always worked out from home. I never really was a gym goer, except when my husband and I first started dating, when he worked at a gym. He was a trainer before we got married. The funny thing is, I told him I wouldn't marry him until he got a real job. And so we worked out at the gym at that. But once I had kids and was married, all those, for like 20 years, I never worked out at the gym. And so I went to a gym, and I was like, I know the best thing. I was on medication, obviously, for depression, just and I just quit taking care of myself. I quit eating healthy because I was taking care of him,
Mm.
and I knew I had to get back to exercise, to walking, to eating healthy. And I slowly did that. And it took me 6 months to lose the 30 pounds. And then people started saying stuff like, oh my gosh, like, can you help me? And then that's when I decided to, I was like, I want to help other women because I wish there had been something out there for myself when I was going through all that. And so that's what I did. That's how Fit.Four.Five was born. It literally was just something that I just did randomly, and then I ended up getting so full in person that I took it online. I launched my own app 4 days before COVID, which obviously skyrocketed my business then. And so now I train women online all over the US,
Wow.
nutrition wise, and with my fitness app.
Wow. I mean, it's such a story, and it's just so powerful. And, as a mom, it's just hard not even to take myself to that place. We have a pool too. We have a gate around ours. You do all the things that to do to protect your kids. And that's one of the biggest things I've always heard in situations like this is the beating yourself up over what more could I have done, or and it's just such a lie. It's a lie from the enemy. And we do all we can as parents. And I think I had shared with you that book, gosh, why am I blanking on the name, from Granger Smith with his son River.
Yes, yes.
And he was 3. And, very sadly, he did not survive. And he had siblings that were also present. So it made me think a lot about that too, just the correlations. But now he is just thriving as just quit being a country music artist and thriving and becoming a pastor, and just found this incredible faith through it all. And I know you said your faith was stronger than ever during that time. Because I think people go either way. They really just either turn away or they really lean in.
Right. And, we've always, obviously I'm 50, so I've gone through hard times, but I will say I remember the doctor, which, their medicine, or their science and stuff. And not that they didn't have faith, but, that wasn't their child going through that. And even when we went to children's, they always say, and he was a warm water drowning, which they never make it. We do not know how long he was under. And one great thing is he does not even remember anything about the accident. And I think that's God's protection. But a warm water drowning, because a cold water drowning is the organs freeze, and so they are more apt to live. But his being a warm drowning, his was July 23rd. What year was that? 2015. And it's hard to believe. Like I said, there's some days that I can talk about it, and there's just some days that it just really hits me hard. And it's been 8 years, and they kept saying, and it never fathomed me. Now my husband, God love him. He just, I guess one of you has to stay strong. He just really, just lost everything about him. And a crazy thing about my husband, he never answers his phone. And that was the one time till this day that he answered his phone the first time, calling him and saying, Ram's, been in an accident.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we move on and really talk more about what you're doing now in the journey ever since then, so how old is Ram? And just kind of tell where he's at, what he's doing now.
He is 13 and he is in 8th grade. He is homeschooled half the time, and then he goes to 2 days a week. He goes to it's not really a co-op, but it's a school that helps with the homeschooling. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he has some learning disabilities and things, but otherwise than that, he's perfect.
Yeah. No, it's just so exciting. And does he like anything to do with athletics, fitness, or is he on a different track? And what about your girls? I'm just curious.
Well, no, it's kind of funny. You would think now, obviously, my kids are all thin, and my girls are great water drinkers. My son, not so much. Now, right now, he's at the age where he can eat anything he wants. Now, he does. We turned in my husband had a man cave. It's a 1,200 square foot detached garage that now is where we film for my app and where I should be doing my podcast, but my Wi-Fi has not been working too great out there right now. And so it's where we do all of our filming. And so he will go in there and he will lock himself in there. He does not want us to watch him. Now we had to hold him off till 13. He would kind of do that around 12 because he was still growing, and so they don't need to be lifting weights till 13. But right now he's 5'9". He's skin and bones, but he's that 13. And then my oldest daughter, she does my marketing for my business, and she goes to the gym just for fun. I've tried to talk her into competing, and she says she has no desire to do that. And then my middle daughter, she's just always just been naturally thin. So, but no, none of them have caught the bug yet. We keep saying it's going to be random.
Yeah. Well, if they're anything like us, it seems like a lot of women that I know catch the bug later in life,
And they don't realize. I always say to my 20-year-old clients, I'm like, you do not realize how easy it is for you. And, even if they put in a little effort. So yeah, mine don't even have to put in much effort and they look great. So
yeah. Okay. So share with me, after all this happened with Ram and you began to start up the Fit.Four.Five, and I know the purpose behind it was realizing I want to do something to help other women. So share kind of what it's all about, what all you do offer, and just kind of your take on aging and starting things. And I like to talk about empowering younger women too. I think about our daughters and girls that age and beyond. It's like if you start sooner, really taking care of yourself, you're setting yourself up so much more, down the road for that healthier life. So just kind of talk about your company and the things that you're doing with it now and you just coach women, is that right?
No, I actually coach men too.
Okay.
And how that kind of happened was, I'd be coaching the wives, and then my husband. I feel like there's a lot there. Let me kind of go back to. So, like I said, I'm 50. Grew up in the day where you go to Walmart, buy the DVD player. So my girls grew up with that, and I never really enforced that on them. And so, if you're a young listener, you're leading by example. So I would just tell my girls, if you would, because that was me. If I did not get my workout in, I would have so much anxiety. And I was a stay-at-home mom, and I would say, let mom get her workout in, and I will be the best mom ever. And so the workouts would be 30 to 45 minutes. I always like to do 45 minutes. And that's how my girls remember, that's how we got Fit.Four.Five. A lot of people thought it was because there was 5 in our family. It's just, I feel like 45 minutes is a sweet spot. And so, and after my son's accident, I was on antidepressants, and I hated the way it made me feel. But at the time, I know better now, but I felt like I needed something just to get me past and then to get me moving. And so now I help women. I say exercise for your mind and your mental health. The weight will fall off if you exercise for that. But if you're only exercising just to lose weight, because that's women will come to me and they'll only do it for 6 weeks because they're thinking, oh, if I do it for 6 weeks, I'm like, no, exercise needs to be a part of your day-to-day life, just like brushing your teeth or combing your hair. And so so I decided that I started training first, ladies in person out of my garage before I overtook my husband's man cave, and they were always 45 minutes. And I felt like you got a great workout in. And then as I got busier, because you can only do so many in person, then that's when I went online, and then I would email them their workouts. And then once I launched my app, I have 3 different programs. The sweat is a 30-minute follow along. So they follow along with me, they push the button, and it's kind of like an on-demand video. And then I have strong home and strong gym. Those can coincide together. there is they're around 45 minutes. So that's with dumbbells. They have a 15-second tutorial video. Like if they do not know what a walking lunge is, they can push and I'll show them, explain it. But they guide on their own and they have their rest period. So it's a fitness app. Like they push a button, it'll give them 30-second time to rest. And so it's home or gym. So they can switch back from home or gym wherever they want to be at.
Yeah, that's amazing. And is the app, I mean, I'm assuming it's called Fit.Four.Five.
Yes. Now you cannot download it in the App Store. You purchase it through my website. And the reason for that is because you can purchase my app for half off in December for the next year. So like this December for 2024, a lot of people, now that my name has gotten out there, they like to get it for that half price savings. Or people who want to only join in every 6 weeks or when I launch programs, and they can do that throughout the year. But it is more of a better price point if they do purchase it half off.
Yeah.
But I do have challenges through the year, and I'm working now on programs for 2024. I've been asking a lot of my clients, like, what do you want to see? I'm kind of going back to the basics to how I started. So we did a competition team. I competed for a while, and I just so-called retired at 50. Who knows if I'll pick it back up? But right now I have a 13-year-old son in junior high, and I need to, not that he cares I'm in a bikini, because it's not sexual at all. A lot of people think that. It's really just about, it's so much more just about, what you can put your body through and your mind through and mental challenge and just a go. It's just, and it's honestly the hardest thing I've ever done. I know I kind of jumped to that.
Yeah.
But,
well, and that's what I was going to say. Let's really talk about that a little more, because first, some of the listeners might be going, wait, is she a competitor? Does she do bodybuilding? So we haven't talked about that yet. I think it's kind of funny that you're my third one, have all been competitive bodybuilders, and it wasn't on purpose. But I'm just so incredibly inspired by you and Tama and Julia and all the others, because I know how much work it takes just to do that. And so I would love to hear from you, what age, when you started doing that, what made you go, hey, I think I'm going to do that? And so, yeah, just share a little bit about what type of competing you did.
Well, this is kind of a funny story. So I really have always been very modest. I never, if I ever wore a two-piece bathing suit, it was always at my own home pool, never would be out in public. I'm very modest. I'm a homeschooling mom. And not that I was ashamed of my body, it's just something that I just didn't feel confident in doing. And so this was back when I was training one-on-one, a client, very good friend of mine. Her name is Julie Youngblood. I was 46 and I was training her, and her dad was actually Mr. Arkansas, and he was an IFBB pro. And she said, I was just training her, and I think she was doing a walking lunge, and she said, have you ever thought about competing? And I said, competing in what? She said, bodybuilding. I said, well, I don't want to look like a man, what every woman says. And she goes, no, bikini. She goes, you're so disciplined with your training, your food. And I said, I would never do something like that. That's all it took. But what's the funny thing is I told her dad was 35 when he started. And I remember being a young girl thinking, what man at 35 would start competing? He is so old. He needs to be paying attention to his kids. And I didn't start till 46. And a lot of people think, oh, you just, you're not a wife anymore. You're not a mom, because it does take so much time. Well, I did all that and ran a business, and it really just keeps you so disciplined. I actually miss when I'm not in prep, is what we call it. But anyways, so after Julie left her session, I kind of just started Googling a little bit more about it, because I thought, gosh, I'm too old. I'm 46. Well, obviously, with your other competitors you have interviewed, more women over 40 are starting. And it's because a lot of the reason is because, their kids are grown, and it's something for themselves. I feel like no matter our age, we have to have a go. And that's what it was for me. So I've competed for the past 4 years. and I have been competing to get my pro status, which I did not receive. And I came close, and I won lots of first places, but the shows that I won first place did not get pro cards for those shows. And so I just love the discipline of it. It honestly made me a better wife and mom too, because you just have to just stay on task. And when I don't have a go, I kind of just feel like the rest of me just kind of goes apart. I just don't stay. We all need a schedule. We all need a routine. I've actually been getting a lot of moms that now that their kids have gotten a routine back at school, they're like, okay, we need your help because we got to get back in a routine now that our kids are. But anyway, so my first year, I did 4 shows. A funny story about this is that first prep, just like anything, it was kind of hard. I didn't know what to expect. And I thought I should starve myself because my husband and I did it on our own. And I remember the backstage, my husband was like, and he said I was real moody during it. And, during the prep. And he texted me, he said, okay, are we one and done? And I said, I loved it. I said, I cannot wait to do more. And I did 4 that year. So that's how it seriously started, just like that.
And so, I mean, I have to ask you, I don't think I've asked any of the guests, does it feel strange like that first time? Because you do have to pose and you have to get up there and do that. How does that feel doing that first time?
Oh, it was very, very odd. And I was a past pageant girl, and you would have thought I had never walked in heels before because I hadn't walked in heels in years.
Yeah.
And then also in a very tiny, when I was in pageants, that was back in the day, we wore one-piece bathing suits. And so, and this, bikini competition, if you need to Google it, listeners, your suit fits inside a, quart-size Ziploc bag. So it is very, very small. And my son actually went, I'm not ashamed of the body. My girls were actually, when I gave birth to my son, I wanted them in there. And I actually got this question from someone yesterday. Someone had reached out to me and said, I want you to nutrition coach me and train me, but I don't want to compete. And so I had my son there because she was saying it would be too embarrassing for her son to be there. But I actually had my son there because I wanted him to be there because I wanted him to see it wasn't sexual. Well, he has never been to one since. And I've been in, gosh, I think 16 shows. He hated every minute of it because they're so long. And my husband keeps telling him, he's like, son, someday you're going to regret this. He has not been to one since that first one.
Well, and talk about your husband just for a minute, because I know he's a part of your business and your support and what you do too. So does he has a role in training, or you tell us?
Yes. So, like I said, back when we dated, he worked at a local gym called Blood, Sweat, and Tears in our town. And so every Friday night, I'd go see him, after he'd be at work, and then we would go train afterwards, and then we'd go to Red Lobster afterwards. So that was our Friday night date night, every night at the gym. And so when we got engaged, I told him I was not going to marry him until he got a real job, because personal training one-on-one back in the day was not a real job. And so then he got a real job, and then he had a construction company business for 20 years. And then he joined me the December before COVID hit and closed down his business and then joined Fit.Four.Five. So it's pretty much a family affair now. My husband, he does helps with the nutrition side, the supplement side. He's so much better at supplements because we help our clients more so with supplements just as well. Like when you get me coaching you as nutrition, I'm like, have you had your testosterone tested? Where's your vitamin D levels? It's not just, I just throw your meal plan out there. And then he does the training, and then he also, he does my tan. You have to have a supportive spouse in this sport for sure. I always tell people, don't even do it if you do not have a supportive spouse. And so yeah, and then my oldest daughter does my marketing for me. She actually lived in Hawaii last year. She just moved out of Hawaii since the Maui fires. And I was there all of November, December, and the 1st of January because I wanted to be Hawaii 5-0. And we refilmed for my ad. And so then she does all of my marketing. And then my middle daughter is a cosmetologist. And so she does my hair and makeup for shows. they're local. And then she also does it for any of my photo shoots or things like that. And then my son actually does help me video now.
That's so
Well,
fun. I mean, I love that your whole family, plays a key role in the business. I love that. I think that's I mean, and that's going to be so just inspirational to them as they keep going along. And I think it's going to be so special to them as they get older too. And there always seems to be a little more appreciation, as you get older.
I do think so. The funny thing about when I first started the business, like my husband couldn't wait to video me when he got tired of me, and he'd be like, he'd video, and he used to be so, and then he'd start throwing the phone. Well, then it went to my oldest daughter, then it went to my middle daughter, then it went to my son, and now my son, which he is kind of getting into the videography and things like that, but I'm still mom. They still get
Yeah.
bored. Like, another one, mom. It is quite funny, but I do
Yeah.
think as they get older, they'll appreciate it, and it'll be fun memories.
Yeah, that's fun because my son does all my podcast editing, and he is a media guy, and he is very talented in that area, so he helps out a lot.
Hey, we have to have them.
Yeah.
And one thing I have told myself is I will never not work again, because that was the hardest thing after 15 years. Literally, I did not know how to do anything technology wise. I mean, I could clean the house, and like I said, I'm not knocking it, because stay-at-home mom is a job in itself. But to have to learn all these things over again, I just, just having to keep up with the times and stuff. I mean, because technology is not our friend sometimes.
Yeah.
We know before we started.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think, that's what kind of I was touching on earlier, the fact that you didn't start your business and everything until later in life. And
45.
yeah, I did not start I've taught fitness, and I've done a lot of things over the years. I was a stay-at-home mom. We did some homeschooling. We kind of were all over the board when it came to school. My kids did every type of school. But during that time, I was teaching fitness at like 5:30 in the morning so I could get it done, before the day. But majority of my time was being a mom, and I would dabble in some other little things, but I did not start the actual health coaching and podcasting till my 50s. And I'm 58 now, and it's just like, what else can I keep doing? I don't want to stop doing things. And like you, I know your passion, like so many women that I talk to, we want to empower women to know that they can do this too, that you don't just stop especially when your kids leave. I'm an empty nester, and it's like, I can do whatever I want to right now. And I choose to be able to do things that are helping other women and are empowering and equipping them. I don't want to just sit around and do nothing.
Well, to me, helping others helps you, and that was me. And I think that's why both my husband and I our moms were very young when they had us. I think they had all their kids by the time we had our first one. And I was 26 when I had my first one, so I was still young. And I felt like at 40, I think I grew up, and you maybe agree with this too, like you're dead. You've lived, your life is over with. Your kids are grown. And I didn't want to be that way. And I think that's why we had my son late in life, because I kind of had that mentality. Is like, what am I going to do with my life? Because we're dead at 40. You just start living at 40.
Yeah.
And like you said, what kind of life is that? You're helping other women by your podcast and your health coaching. What kind of life is it just to sit at home and not do anything? I just can't do that. I have to, me helping other women. Now, sometimes I have to take a little step back, because sometimes I can get to where I'm helping others, and then I quit taking care of myself. And then I have to rein myself back in and remind myself, just like a mom, if I don't take care of myself, then I can't take care of those I love or others. But I feel like I am at 50, have so much more life to live, that I feel like I have all this to do and not enough time. Do you feel that way?
Oh, all the time. It's just like I feel like my brain is constantly going and I'm
Good.
constantly making notes on my phone of the things like an idea pops in or whatever. I'm constantly writing things down or the things I want to do and I always have to take that. I mean, I take everything to prayer because I'm like, Lord, I need you to show me where you want me and what direction you want me, because ultimately everything I do, I want it to be for him and for it to be his will, because when I get outside of that and start doing things on my own, I usually end up cratering. But there's so many things I want to do and it doesn't seem like there's ever enough time to do them all.
Right, right. And I've had to learn too that I can't do all the things. I need to do what I'm good at. And so that's kind of why I'm pulling back, revamping for 2024. So we've been in lots of prayer and just, what I'm good at, and I'm kind of taking my business back to the basics to how it all started.
Yeah, it's kind of, I look at it staying in your lane because I feel like there's times I get out of my lane or maybe I see what someone else is doing. I'm like, oh, maybe I want to do that. And then I'm like, no, get back in your own lane and really dig into what my passions are and what really drives me. And not just because someone else is doing this, it doesn't mean that that's the path for me. And it's just staying focused on that. And for me, doing this podcasting, talking to just incredibly inspirational people is what just drives me and excites me. And it's what I love to do. And I love talking to women that are doing the same thing, especially later in life. I think it's amazing. So with that said, as we wrap up, tell us, because I know you have more than an app, tell us all the exciting things you have. I know you have ebooks, you have so many different things. So share with the audience and we'll put stuff in the show notes so they know how to connect with you. But yeah, share all the things.
Well, I branded my own fitness bands. That's kind of how I started as well. It's Fit.Four.Five resistant bands. They're the best on the market. Believe me, I went through hundreds of them before I finally found the one. And, they do not slide, pinch, any of those type of things. And so I have two sizes of resistant bands. And then I have gotten into ebooks because I do know some people do not like fitness apps. They like to have a pen to paper, especially, the 40 and above. And so I do have fitness ebooks as well. I have a nutrition ebooks as well too. And so I do gut reset. So I've kind of branched off into other things. I love nutrition, that I do nutrition coaching too. That is a higher price range because, that's diving deep for their goals, their body, if they're wanting to lose weight or they're just wanting to maximize their time in the gym. And so I do that as well. But everything is available through my website, and it is fit45.co, not .com. I couldn't get it back then, but now it's available. But I love the sound of .co, and then I thought, hey, it's worked. I'm not going to change it. But I do ebooks. I'm on Pinterest as well, and so you can find that. My daughter helps run my Pinterest and TikTok. We got to get it revamped with the Maui fires. It kind of got her behind a little bit, but now that she's back in the States, or the mainland, is like she likes to call it, things are getting back going. So
I'll have to look you up on Pinterest. I have never been a Pinterest girl. I've tried. My daughter is really good at Pinterest. And do you love it or hate it?
I love Pinterest.
You
I've
love
always
it.
loved Pinterest.
Yeah,
Yes.
I forget I have Pinterest. So I mean, TikTok, I'm not a TikToker. That's not my arena, but
Well, a funny thing about TikTok, I'm not a TikToker either, but when I was out there, my husband loves TikTok. He cannot do a thing on social media, but he will sit and laugh at TikTok all day long. And then, so my daughter last November got me in on TikTok, and the 8 weeks I was with her grew to 15,000 followers. And then I haven't done a thing with it, and I haven't grown at all because,
yeah.
she's not there saying, Mom, Mom, Mom. I'm an Instagrammer, and then that launches over to Facebook. That all you do is it just toggles over. I just love Instagram.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
so Instagram is also Fit.Four.Five. Pretty much that's where everyone can find you. Is just
everything is, and it's spelled out. It's FIT.FOUR.FIVE.
okay. Okay.
Yes.
And like I said, I'll put that in the show notes, and where everyone can get in touch with you and follow you. And I know, I don't know, do you want me to say anything that you have a holiday program coming up?
Yes, I have a holiday hustle, and it starts November 6th. So it'll be available to purchase starting November 1st on my website. But you can follow me on social media because I'll be promoting it. And then it'll get you through the end of the year. It's going to be a little bit shorter workouts because, it's a busy time for everyone, just fast and efficient workouts. So.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so, because I ask everybody to at the end, is what are you doing now, or would you like to do in the future that your age is not your cage? Something that maybe you haven't tried yet, or something that's in the works. What would that be for you?
Well, that is so funny that you said that because, I had announced my retirement out of bodybuilding. And, who knows? I mean, I've only been retired a month, and I've had some friends reach out and say, "Hey, do a Ironman with me." Well, I looked that up. I do not swim in the ocean. My daughter, like I said, I was there last. I don't get in the ocean. She swam with the sharks, thought it was the most amazing experience of her life. I don't jump from tall buildings. So I actually have been searching. Now, mind you, it's only been a month of what I'm going to do next because I have to challenge myself. I just love a good challenge. My best friend is an IFBB pro, and I told her right now, I'm just going to kind of live through her. Her name's Emily Dean. And I said, I'm just going to kind of live through you because she competes as a pro and she's just so much fun. But right now I haven't found what I want to do next yet. So, because, like you said, your age is not your cage. I'm just going to keep, and I don't know if the others have talked about, there's a competitor, 71, that is competing in bikini, and her name's Renee, and she is so amazing. So, don't let age be your cage. And so I'm going to find something to do. I just haven't quite found it, but I will not be swimming in the ocean.
Yeah.
And I'm always one to say never, not never, but I really will not do that.
Yeah.
I was up close and personal with a shark with my daughter who was all over him. And I was like, she kept saying, "Mom, this is the most amazing." I'm like, I would die right there. Like, do you want your mom to die at 50? I'm not getting in with sharks.
Yeah, I would have a heart attack. No, would so not be my thing. It doesn't entice me at all. But when you figure out what it is, because I'm the same way, I really want to do some kind of challenge, something fun, but not crazy. I don't need to get in an ocean or jump from a building, but I want to do something fun and different, especially after my kidney donation. I really want to show people too that even doing something like that does not have to slow you down or stop you. So,
well, let me tell you. Now, what have you been interviewing the last 3 times? We got something for you. And I'm telling you, no one realizes what a bikini competition is. You honestly just think that you're just getting up there. There is so much to that. It is honestly harder than giving birth. Now, it may not be harder than, donating, but that could be something.
Yeah.
Because and you've got enough people in your life that could help guide you.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I never say never, because it seems like when you do that,
something with the sharks.
Yeah. Besides that, I don't know. I'm not really down with jumping out of a plane either. I just don't know.
I'm not either.
I don't. Yeah, why jump when you can stay in it? It's my motto. But the point being, and what I want the listeners to hear is get excited about learning something new, about trying something new. Gather friends together. Stephanie and I don't live near each other. She's in Arkansas. I'm in Texas. But there's no reason we can't plan something that ends up being a challenge or something that's together. So it's like, get excited about trying something new, because I think that is just keeps you young and keeps you vibrant, keeps your emotional and physical health, just optimal. And so I think with what we're both saying, that's kind of the bottom line is you're never too old. It's never too late. Don't give up. And any age, it's like you said, I've had an 80-year-old on here talking. I've had a 78-year-old. I've had all ages, and they have more fire and more energy than a lot of 40-year-olds I know. And so it's exciting.
It really, really is. And so yes, don't put an age limit. And like you said, I mean, I feel like there's just still so much more I want to do in my life. And I do remember being in my 20s thinking, I got to do all this. I got to do all this, and stuff before I'm 30. Well, golly, you have so much more, years to do things.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, you are an inspiration, and you just have this contagious, bubbly personality. And I know people would absolutely love working with you and just knowing you. So it'll be in the show notes how to find Stephanie. And if you want to connect with her, just reach out. I know she'd be happy to answer questions and help and guide you. But just thank you for being here. It's been such a joy. And I just have been so blessed by already just knowing you. And we've chatted offline before, and you've just been a gift in a short amount of time that I've known you. So thank you.
Well, we need to thank Tamaya, because she is so wonderful to have put us together too. She's so awesome. So.
Yes, I know. Exactly. So, okay. Well, thank you. And we will talk again soon.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.